Casino Guitar is back. Thanks for joining us. Johnny?
We're here. We made it.
Welcome back to town. It's so we're talking about sort of a serious issue today. Not a sort of, but a definitely serious issue. It happened last week. We were sort of waiting for the dust to settle and to talk to a few of our contacts at the companies a bit more in detail. But Fender did, in fact, lay off pretty much their entire afternoon shift / 300 people. And Guitar Center also laid off about 500 people, cut 300 people from full-time down to part-time, and then took away benefits. And so things are sort of unfolding there. And our main point of doing this is, the news is already out there, but just as a, hey, like, we're feeling it for anybody that took that hit. Thank you to all the people at Fender that have built these guitars for the past few years. We appreciate it. We love your guitars. We hope you land on your feet. We hope you're brought back into the fold if that's what you want to do soon enough, as soon as they figure out their internals. Same at GC. It's, that's like a dream job for a lot of cats. And
it is. You
get in there, and then we know some guys that were at GC for 30 years, and during the first round of purges, 2008 period, after the Bain takeover, the guys that built that company were just like sliced and
Next, man.
gone.
Yeah.
So our hearts out to everybody there and your families. We hope you guys crush it. And that's it. But what was happening? So didn't really see this coming, or did we?
Maybe so. Maybe a little bit.
I've been sort of like bemoaning the idea that this was going to happen for months.
Right.
Because we lived through 2020 and 2021 was this boom in guitar sales. Probably one of the biggest booms in the history of fretted instruments, like ever. It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just like gross sales, but percentage wise. And so we could not get enough guitars to keep our customer bases happy. All these companies ramp up their production.
Yep.
And they hire on as much as possible. But the whole time I was like, man, like, this isn't gonna last forever. Like, it can't. They're gonna get to a part where the Equilibrium, great movie by the way, Gun Fu, Christian Bale. It's a sleeper hit. Go check it out. It's on Netflix or something now, or one of those streamers, maybe HBO. But it just didn't match. They were building more guitars than us as shops could take. And Guitar Center itself, they were given a shipment of guitars that they could not afford to pay for at the point, or just don't want. And that's your right as a buyer. You're not contractually obligated. You're like, I don't want these anymore. I can't sell. I've got too many. And in turn, they had to go back. That's millions of dollars right there.
That's right.
There's also the issues. Now, if you haven't watched it, check out Dylan Talks Tone video on this. He was sort of one of the breakers on it. It was last week. I believe it was Thursday. I think it was Thursday his video came out last week. It's a really good video. We love Dylan. He's great. But he sort of did a breakdown on the finances. I'll be brief with it.
Yeah.
Some of the way that Fender's financing works, they don't pay for all the guitars with cash out of pocket. It's like most businesses. They borrow money from a lending tree, from a lending service.
Lending tree.
That'd be funny if Fender was like borrowing from the lending tree.
That'd be great. Where they get all the offers, like,
lending tree's like,
get it.
Yes. Got the best account ever.
Perfect.
No, but like it's this whole convoluted mess of the way the financing works and their loan structures and their ratings that they get from the overseas pieces they're selling and buying, to how much stock they can have on hand, to how much production staff they can have on hand, which means people. And they had to make a spreadsheet decision, and they cut humans. And that happens with major corporations. That's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
Guitar Center is the same way. They have to look at the bottom line. I like to say it's nothing personal, but it's people, so it's highly personal.
Yeah, it's definitely personal.
So there's all of that tied into one. Now, do we think this is the end of cuts? I hope so for those companies, but I sort of foresee this could be on the... Taylor's guitars have sort of overheated their production as well. They have, they're working 3 shifts, I believe, in their Tecate factory. Gibson's going to have some issues maybe. They were sort of pushing hard to, kind of create production ramped up, and then they were still having their QC issues on top of that. So,
it is a... I hate to say it's a natural, but we knew, we've talked about the growth couldn't keep on the way it was, right? The demand just wasn't going to be there for forever the way it was for the last 2 years. So you know, I hate to see this stuff, but
that's the things I feel like it could have been avoided.
Right.
I feel like it could have been like a controlled growth a little bit with their production ramping up, like knowing you're not going to fulfill every order as quickly as you want to get it. I get it. They want to make as much money as fast as possible. That's the purpose of a business, I guess.
But so you think you just got a little greedy maybe and trying to like squeeze every dime out of it?
Yeah, because they bring in people. Every company will, like these big companies do this. Like, and I'm a Fender. I pretty much have Fender tattooed all over my body. Right. I love Fender guitars. Yeah, everyone knows this. But
and we generally love Fender. You know, we've said before, is in our dealings, Fender in some ways seems like the least corporate of the big.
I know, that's why this was such a shock. But I think this is already happening in other companies. You just don't hear about it. It's been a smaller siphoning off of workforce. They bring in this sort of like last in, first to go for like the newer hires, but all except for in higher level production where they're paying you less than they do these guys that have been there for 20 years maybe. They're going to axe those cats first because they're expensive. And they'll bring somebody else in to sort of take over that position. That's just what companies do a lot. I'm hoping that's not what's happening across the board.
Well, I think, you know, the other slightly disappointing thing is you see, obviously there's been this huge boom and then there's price increases and it's supply, blah, blah. But you wonder if there couldn't have been some tightening, maybe eating a little bit of those profit margins.
Well, it is.
To keep people
that is the funny part. Like record profits across the board for all these companies, and they're all
along with price increases.
And then the oil companies, I was watching that too. They're all touting, you know, record profits while we're paying $5 at the gallon at the gas pumps.
Seems a little.
I didn't like that.
Not awesome.
So, but at least like Fender had price increases set for this year. Again, they were supposed to come in this summer, and they canceled.
Which I can respect that.
But I think they probably obviously saw that so they tightened their belt there a little bit, and then it wasn't enough. Right. And so that's when this had to happen, and it is happening in other places a little bit. Just because it doesn't mean guitars aren't being sold. We're selling them as fast or faster in some ways, but production's caught up. Yeah. They just overheated it. It's like the engine in Snowpiercer. They just they put too many little kids in there. Sorry, it's a great movie. If you haven't watched the movie, I haven't watched the show yet. Yeah. Have you seen it? No. I haven't. Yeah.
I believe you and I watched that movie at Merle Fest.
It was awesome. It was really late. Donnie went to bed.
He couldn't. Yeah. No, he's like, all right, you guys are stupid.
One of our guys who we love works with Taylor. He's one of the best reps we've ever worked with. But he was a GC guy back in the day too, and it was part of the original group, the Golden Boys, that made that place a ton of money. And then they got axed during the whole thing, the purge. But no, the show I'm watching right now is Better Call Saul. I sort of power watched through season 2 last week. I'm gonna power watch through season 3. I hope this week as much as possible. And then I think the final season's coming out.
I haven't been watching any TV.
You've been at
but I've been gone. But I have become grossly addicted to the Stormlight Archive.
What is this?
It is a series of fantasy, not really science fiction, fantasy books. And I'm.
You're reading?
Yes, I'm reading.
Oh, I was thinking it was like a YouTube series. No. Because I watched those too, and it's like the breakdown.
I do watch YouTube still, and I have watched some YouTube things breaking down some of the things in the books, but I don't want to get ahead of myself because I don't want to spoil anything. I'm only on book 3. I just finished book 2 this morning.
Okay, that's cool that you're into it. My book thing that I get hard into, my wife has like looked at it. She likes to give books back after we read them, which I can't stand sometimes. But I have the whole Jack Campbell Lost Fleet series. If you've read it, thumbs up to you. You're a nerd as well, but I love that book series so much.
You tell me about that.
I'm going to reread it again, I think, just because it's so much fun.
Now, this one, you would enjoy this one. It's Brandon Sanderson, The Stormlight Archive.
Okay, thank you. We'll talk about it more.
Talk about it later.
After the video. So we would actually love to hear from any of you guys that have been affected by this directly. I just got invited to join the guitar shit posting Facebook group or something. I was like, I didn't know this was a thing. Oh yeah. So I just like, everybody's really funny on that. It's just really mainly Guitar Center employees, like just talking really funny stuff about like stuff that's happens at Guitar Center.
I want to be on there. I want to be on the shit post.
Well, you've worked at Guitar Center.
I have.
You've worked at Gibson.
It's true.
So you've been part of these two like megatropolis, mega monstrous like guitar companies. And you sort of seen the internals.
I've seen a little bit, yeah.
And there's great parts to them.
There are.
There's some dark parts to them.
Yeah.
Guitar Center is pretty darn fun if you got the right team.
I mean, some of my ridiculously funnest days ever were in Guitar Center warehouse. So
warehouse.
Yeah, the warehouse, the back room of the old GC.
Keep him away from the customers.
That's right.
Jonathan lurches around in the back room.
Yeah.
That's what he does here pretty much.
Yeah, that's true.
He's sitting back on his green velvet couch with like people serving him grapes as he types and talks to people about fancy guitars.
That's all mostly true.
From Fender. So thanks for watching again. Click like, subscribe.
Hit the bell.
And best luck again to all you cats out there that have had a, what do they call it in this corporate speak? Career transition.
Oh, ouch.
And again, hats off to everyone that's helped build these fantastic guitars over the past few years. We love them, and we're going to keep doing our best to give those praises and love to you guys and everybody out there.
That's right.
Thank you.
See you next time.